All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope you all having a good day so far. So a little while back, someone sent this video to me in the comments. It's called What Really Happened to Everyone in Michael Jordan's Draft Class. And it was a pretty cool draft class, except for maybe Sam Bowie. But this video is coming from a Lockdown K, which I've never heard of this channel. 45,000 subscribers. If I like the video, I'll definitely be subscribed over to it now. But yeah, that's what I love about you guys sending me all these ideas. Somehow in the YouTube abyss, there's so many cool channels that I would have never found if it wasn't for you guys. So let's see if this is another one. Not much to say about the 84 draft class because I'm sure he's going to cover all this stuff, and we'll comment as we go along. So obviously we know the 84 draft is when Hakeem Olajuwon and Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan came out of the draft, but there were others as well. So I'm looking forward to them getting a spotlight as well. So anyways, everybody, I'm going to link the original video here down below in the description. And what the hell was I saying? Yeah, the video is going to be down there in the description for you. So if you want to check out the original video, go right ahead. Or if you want to check out this channel, go right ahead. And everybody else, please leave a like. Shout out to channel members. You'll also see them listed in the description. I appreciate you all. Everyone, please like the vid. It helps out a ton. And let's get into it.
The 1984 NBA draft is remembered because of one man, and that's Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
He ain't the only one, though.
The 84 draft is considered one of the GOAT draft classes, featuring 4 Hall of Famers and 7 NBA All-Stars. But what actually happened to each player drafted before and after the GOAT himself?
All right, this should be cool.
The Houston Rockets, who are represented here by owner Charlie Thomas and his daughter Tracy, select Hakeem Olajuwon.
The Rockets got what turned out to be their greatest pick and player in their franchise's history. They passed up Michael Jordan, but how many people actually clowned Houston for this pick? The season before Hakeem arrived to the Rockets had an awful 29-53 record. And after he was drafted, they saw immediate success, going 51-31 in just his rookie season.
Yeah, I was going to say hindsight's always 20/20, but at the time, no, Hakeem Olajuwon made perfect sense. In fact, I mean, it still kind of makes sense. Nobody knew what Michael Jordan was going to become, but everyone knew Hakeem was a badass already. So it's one of those things, like we get blown away like, oh my God, Jordan wasn't number one. Hey man, neither was Kobe Bryant. You know, it's not the first time. It won't be the last time. Neither was Dwayne Wade.
Even advancing all the way to the Western Conference Final. When you look back on his rookie stats, it makes sense why he was drafted over the soon-to-become GOAT, because he was putting up 20 points and 12 rebounds and nearly 3 blocks per game.
Yeah, I'd say that was a good pick. Good job. If I use my first round pick and this is what the guy's producing for me, year one, we done did good.
Per game. With stats like that, you would assume he would have won Rookie of the Year, right? Well, that wasn't the case. MJ decided to come out that season with 28 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals per game. Hakeem's crowning moment of his career came during that 2-year run in 94 and 95 when he led H-Town to back-to-back NBA titles. First against the Knicks and then against the Shaq Penny Orlando Magic when the dream went off, averaging 33 points, 12 boards, and 6 assists. At the end of his career, Hakeem would finish with 2 rings to his name and cemented his place among the 10 best players in NBA history.
Yep.
So, where is he now? He kept at it even after retirement, mostly as a mentor to players who came after. You guys probably remember the time he spent mentoring LeBron early in his career while he was still trying to get over the hump. Players seek his coaching. A lot of it is because Hakeem is the master of footwork. He's taught a bunch of...
Last person I saw was Giannis, was training with...
players as well. As far as his personal endeavors go, he was said to be a real estate magnate in the Houston area. What's also interesting is that he paid for all of his properties in cash because his religion does not allow the paying or charging of interest.
Nice.
Portland selects Sam Bowie, University.
In hindsight, this pick is painfully bad when considering who was drafted next, but for perspective, the Portland Trail Blazers had not had a decent big man since Bill Walton, so it definitely made sense at the time, especially with the league being very center-dominated back then. Though what should have been a red flag was his recurring injuries back in college. But in his rookie season, he put up a mid-10 points and 8 rebounds, earning himself a spot on the all-rookie team. However, in just his second season, those leg injuries came back to haunt him. In a game versus the Bucks, he would break his left tibia after coming down with a rebound. The very next season, he would suffer a season-ending injury after fracturing his right tibia. He wouldn't do so well as his career progressed, but after he retired, he returned to Lexington, Kentucky. Bowie is heavily involved in harness racing, both owning and training horses that run in an event called the Red Mile.
Dallas.
Okay, I'm glad I watched this. I had no idea. That's cool. All right, next. This is cool. I like that he does the David Stern drafts, the announcements here.
Selects Sam Perkins.
In Perkins' first 6 seasons with the Dallas Mavericks, he was actually a pretty good player, averaging around 15 and 8 during his stint there.
Yeah, me and my brother had our eye on Perkins. He was good.
Of course, I know Dallas fans are punching the air right now, wishing Michael Jordan slipped to them at 4. Yeah. But again, Perkins wasn't a bad player in the beginning. Not Jordan, but still not bad. After retiring, he was named the Vice President of Player Relations for the Indiana Pacers. And that September, he was inducted into the New York City Basketball Hall of Fame. Fast forward to today, and he is a community legend. He was involved with the Special Olympics through the NBA Cares program, in which he participated in multiple basketball clinics around the world. He also helped launch the first Special Olympics basketball program in Senegal, and continues to travel the world to bring awareness about people with intellectual disabilities.
Okay, props. I like that. I like that a lot.
Philadelphia 76ers select Charles Barkley.
Okay, I just got to point something out. The Olympics happened after this happened, right? So, they were just going off of college, what they've seen in college. And nobody, there were some eyes on Jordan, obviously, because he's here on the top of the list. But not that many eyes until what he did in the Olympics. When Jordan was annihilating the All-Stars, the NBA All-Stars, the Olympic team with Jordan on it, man, that's when everyone started noticing. Obviously, 84, I was a little pup, but everything I've looked at historically, that's when everyone realized, holy crap, this guy's special. So the draft doesn't make sense when you watch it now. It's like, well, if we saw Jordan torch everybody, like all these NBA All-Stars, why wasn't he number 1? That's why. So, yeah, in hindsight, all these guys except for maybe Houston, they're all like scratching their heads going, how did we miss it? How did we not see the talent?
The fan favorite Charles Barkley would go 2 spots after Michael. He would join a veteran team, teaming up with Julius Erving and Moses Malone. I know Shaq jokes around with him about being ringless, but don't let the big diesel fool you. Charles was a beast.
Yes, he was.
He was a double-double machine, averaging 25, 10, and 4 at his peak.
Yeah, if I were to make a top 5 list of players, like best players that never won a championship, he's like one of the first on my mind. Carmelo and John Stockton, you're right there too. Patrick Ewing, you're on there.
Which came right around the early to mid-90s, especially that magical
Allen Iverson, you're on there. Sorry, I'll stop now.
In 93 when he took the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals as the MVP.
Every video has to show the 93 freaking finals. That's all I have to say.
Of the NBA.
Come on.
Look, if it weren't for his draft counterpart MJ, Charles Barkley most likely would have had a ring and would probably be right up there as one of the greatest power forwards of all time. But you can blame MJ for that.
Yep, 100%.
Today, as we all know, he is a part of that iconic TNT crew and has been an analyst for TNT since the year 2000, making us laugh on set with his hilarious takes and sometimes brutally honest takes of players. And even people in the media. You can just look up his beef with Skip Bayless. I don't think we need to go into any more detail about his life on TV. Just turn on the TNT network and you'll be amazed on how well he can entertain an audience.
Yeah.
That dude's a national treasure. Can we agree?
They're wolfing down all those churros.
The Washington Bullets select Melvin Turpin of the University.
Okay. I gotta admit, even as a big card collector and stuff back in the day, I don't remember Melvin Turpin. So I gotta learn about this guy right now.
This story has quite a dark ending. Melvin Turpin didn't live up to expectations at all, being the number 6 pick. During his time in the league, he struggled with his weight. So after 6 seasons in the NBA, he retired, only having a career average of 8 points and 4 rebounds. During the early 2000s, Turpin worked as a security guard. But on July 8th, 2010, he would take his own life at the age of 49 in his Lexington home. The reasoning is still unclear, and it was never made public whether he left a note behind or not.
The San Antonio Spurs select Alvin Robertson.
Alvin Robertson often gets forgotten about among all the other San Antonio greats.
Yeah, I remember.
He was a phenomenal player, especially on defense. He led the Spurs in steals for 5 seasons, and in 1985, he averaged an insane 3.7 steals per game while playing all 82 games for that season.
Damn.
Rare you see something like that even today. He won a Defensive Player of the Year award and was elected to the All-NBA second team. So he is very accomplished and had a successful 10-year career. A fun fact is that he's actually the father of Tyrell Johnson, a 2008 NFL draft choice. And he's also the father of Elgin Cook, a professional basketball player.
Nice.
But if you thought this story was going to end off happily, you were wrong.
Yeah, what happened to him?
He had a lot of issues off the court, like serious issues. In 2010, Robertson was arrested and charged with trafficking an underage child. And it was later determined that the 14-year-old victim just made up the entire story.
Did I hear that?
Serious issues. In 2010, Robertson was arrested and charged with trafficking an underage child.
Are you kidding me? Come on, man.
And it was later determined that the 14-year-old victim just made up the entire story and all charges were dropped. But it still had a lot of suspicion due to Robertson's history of domestic violence.
Resisting arrest, burglary, violating a protective order. Yeah, all right.
Against his former girlfriend in 97, among other things. And still, it was something that followed him throughout his career.
Yeah, not my kind of guy.
The Clippers select Lancaster Gordon.
Lancaster Gordon really didn't have all that impressive of a career.
I don't remember.
As he only played 4 seasons in the NBA, all for the Clippers.
No wonder why. My memories from basketball start around 87. So, yeah, I don't remember him.
Averaged more than 7 points per game and couldn't shoot further than like 6 feet from the basket. After his stint in the league, he would play for 3 different teams in the CBA before calling it a career. He's mostly known for his accomplishments in college and his celebration after beating Kentucky in 1983.
The Kansas City Kings. Otis Thorpe of...
Otis Thorpe.
Otis was a good player early in his career.
Yeah, he was.
At his peak, he averaged 20 points and 10 rebounds in 1987. He was traded to the Rockets in 1989, and just 2 years later, he would make his first All-Star appearance, and in one time, he even held the longest streak for consecutive games played.
Yeah, that's what I remember Otis as, a Houston Rocket.
Towards the middle of his career, his numbers dipped drastically, and as a result, he was bounced around the league from team to team.
Yeah, once the 90s came around, he kind of just disappeared. So, okay, this is cool. This is cool. For me, this feels like looking at some old basketball cards and then wondering what happened to this guy, but I get to hear the story now.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, they got 2.
Select Leon Wood of...
Leon Wood only played about 274 games in the NBA, and he never finished a full season.
Yo, how did the Sixers get 2 high draft picks like this?
Nonetheless, he was a contestant in the three-point contest in
Leon
1987. Wood. And after his 6 seasons in the league, he played in Germany, where he was signed for the playoffs and appeared in 3 games, scoring a total of 77 points. He would then go to play on in the CBA, averaging 18 points per game, which led him to being named to the All-CBA team in 1990. So he actually had a solid basketball career outside the NBA. He was also a 2-time international gold medalist. In 1996, he became an NBA referee and still refs games to this very day.
And they are
that's cool. That's cool.
Next pick belongs with Kevin Willis.
Kevin Willis was great.
Was a very important piece for the Hawks, alongside Doc Rivers and Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, I loved that team. Honestly, they didn't get the success I was kind of hoping for as a kid, because obviously huge Dominique fan. So his major supporters like Kevin Willis here, I was a fan by default for sure.
March 11th, 1986, Willis scored a career-high 39 points and grabbed 21 rebounds in a win versus Denver. He wasn't a very dominant scorer, but what made him stand out was his rebound.
Hey, do you guys remember what years? When was Doc Rivers over there as a Hawk? Because I feel like it was during this era as well, right?
At his peak, he averaged 15.5 rebounds per game while playing 81 games. So saying he was an important piece is an understatement. The Hawks made several playoff appearances, a lot of it having to do with how well he handled the dirty work, as kind of the guts and glue guy for the team. After retiring in 2006, Willis would return to his clothing business, Willis & Walker. This Atlanta-based company specializes in custom wear for big and taller guys, and it was actually founded way back in 1988 by Willis and former Michigan teammate Ralph Walker.
Interesting.
The Cleveland Cavaliers select Tim McCormick of the...
Tim McCormick had a decent start to his career, averaging 9 points and 5 rebounds in his first 2 seasons.
I feel like I remember him, but I don't. You know, one of those, like, I know his name, but I don't remember what he did.
Unfortunately, the Sonics weren't that good and needed to make changes, so in 1986, he was traded to the 76ers. Here, he would boost his scoring up to 13 points per game while increasing his rebounding in the process. After being traded again, he would go from averaging 4 points down to minimal production, when he was still supposed to be in his prime. He decided not to play anymore at the young age of 29, and he now works as a basketball analyst for ESPN.
The Phoenix Suns select
my boys.
Jay Humphries.
Jay Humphries was an okay player for Phoenix, and it wasn't until he played for Milwaukee when we saw him establish himself as a quality NBA player. Between 1989 and 1991, he averaged 15 points per game while also averaging 2 steals in 1 year and 1.6 in the next. Just like most players on this list, he would start to decline after having his breakout season, eventually hanging it up in 1995. After retirement, he would begin his coaching career, which started in the CBA. He would spend 5 years as a head coach in a Korean basketball league.
Oh, wow.
In 2012, he served as the assistant coach for the Memphis Grizzlies. And in 2014, he was the Nets assistant coach on the original failed Brooklyn team. You know, not the previous one, the one with that old Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. Hey, man, they got JT on there. They got Terry.
Select Michael Cage.
For those who don't know, Michael Cage is one of the best rebounders ever. And he's even the all-time rebound leader for San Diego State.
I had some of his
During
cards.
1988, he led the NBA in rebounds per game as a Clipper. That season, he had a personal duel with Charles Oakley. Cage needed 28 rebounds in the final game of the season to beat out Charles Oakley for the rebounding title. And what did he do? He ended up grabbing 30 and secured the title. He ended up retiring in 1999, and on September 14th, 2014, the Oklahoma City Thunder announced him as their new announcer.
Oh, wow.
The Dallas Mavericks select Terrence Stansbury.
Terrence Stansbury only played 3 years in the league. But in those 3 years, he was a dunk contest candidate.
I remember him from the dunk contest. It must have been like dazzling dunks and basketball bloopers. I never got to see him live, though.
Every single year.
Yep.
Finishing 3rd place in the slam dunk contest in all of those years.
Dunk right there.
Overseas is where he left his mark, playing 13 seasons in 5 different countries. He earned a distinguished honor enshrinement into the French Basketball Hall of Fame, mainly for his time with Laval, where he won the LNB MVP in 1992.
The Utah Jazz select John Stockton.
Oh.
You know, every team from pick 6 to pick 15 wasn't happy after finding out what this 6'1" guard would become.
Dude, I totally forgot he got picked 16. What a steal. It's like picking up Jokic. You know, what was Jokic drafted at? Like something ridiculous, right?
From appearance alone, he didn't look like he would last. Even Jazz fans were stunned when he was drafted. Most of the guys selected in front of him were these hyper-athletic forwards who could jump out the gym. And then you had him, someone who never weighed over 175 pounds. Of course, Stockton would go on to have a historic career. He led the NBA in assists 9 times and is the all-time steals leader and assist leader in NBA history.
Yes, sir.
On top of his 10 All-Star selections. Stockton and Karl Malone were a devastating duo, of course. But kind of like the rest of the NBA in the 1990s, they were put on lockdown because of MJ and the Bulls. Still, he led Utah to multiple finals and gave Chicago some of their tougher seasons. After retiring, he would coach youth teams and even coached as an assistant for women's college basketball.
I didn't know that.
In 2015, he joined Montana State's women's basketball program to coach his daughter, Lindsay Stockton.
The New Jersey Nets.
Yeah, real quick, just that's one of those guys. I really wish he won a championship, like Steve Nash. It was like and I had J Kidd on that list, but he eventually got his. So, what are you gonna do? Once again, freaking Michael Jordan. There's the only reason why all these guys didn't get a championship.
Select Jeff Turner.
Jeff Turner wasn't anything special, but he played 10 seasons, including 3 seasons with the Nets, and finishing out his last 7 years with the Magic. Clearly, he made quite an impression in Orlando because after he retired, he would become the team's announcer for 9 years.
Wow.
Then he coached at Lake Highland Prep High School in Orlando, Florida, from 2005 to 2013. He had an impressive 151-72 record and won the state title in 2013. In late 2013, he was named the television commentator for the Magic and still does it to this day.
Indiana selects Vern Fleming.
Oh, Vern
Fleming is one of the more loyal players in this draft. He would go on to play 11 of his 12 seasons for the Indiana Pacers. While he wasn't a star, he was a pretty good role player, averaging 14 points per game in his first 6 seasons. His best season came in 1990 when he started all 82 games, averaging 14 and 7 assists. The following season, he recorded a career-high 18 assists. So yeah, overall, he was a successful player for the majority of his career.
Okay,
Bernard Thompson of Fresno.
Bernard Thompson was one of those players who didn't do much in the NBA but turned out to be pretty solid in other leagues. In his first 5 seasons in the NBA, he only had a career average of 5 points. Solid in other leagues. In his first 5
Dude, he looks like Dwight Howard. I remember him in that Suns jersey too, though. Why? Why do I know this?
Seasons in the NBA, he only had a career average of 5 points per game. After the NBA, he would play 4 seasons in the CBA for 5 different teams. In his CBA career, he averaged 18 points and 4 rebounds, so he was a pretty good player, all things considered. He was also involved post-retirement as an assistant coach for the Arizona Rhinos in the ABA for 2 years.
All right, so he's staying here in AZ.
Detroit Pistons. Select Tony Campbell.
Tony Campbell's career started slowly for the first 4 seasons, but in 1987, he became the first person to win an NBA title and a CBA title in the same season.
What?
In his first 4 years, he never averaged over 11 points, and things felt just average. Well, that was until he had the biggest resurgence of his career. He went from averaging 6 points one year to 23 points per game with his new team, the Timberwolves, the following season.
Wow.
In his next year in Minnesota, he averaged 21, and then in his last season with them, he put up 16 per game. He helped LA make some deep playoff runs too, winning a title in 1988 while playing limited minutes. But his best moment came during the 1989 NBA Finals when he averaged 11 points on 62% shooting off the bench, though the Lakers were swept at the hands of the bad boys in Detroit. He was the definition of a late bloomer. He even held the Timberwolves' all-time scoring record until it was broken by Doug West. From 2007 to 2018, he was the director of athletics and head coach at Bay Ridge High School.
I love to see how many people are staying in the game in some way or another, whether it's coaching or announcing, commentating.
Kenny Fields didn't do much of anything, honestly. Playing only 4 years, averaging about 6 points per game. His best year as a pro came during the 1986 season, appearing in 48 games and averaging 8 points per game. He played 2 seasons in the CBA for 3 different teams to wrap up his career. Tom Sewell only played 1 season in the NBA for the Washington Bullets and only played 21 games at that. He has since coached basketball in London and refereed youth games as well, and it is said he is pretty big in community work wherever he's living right now.
Earl Jones.
The Los Angeles Lakers took Earl Jones with the 23rd pick, and although his career wasn't much to write home about, he was an outstanding player at the high school and college levels. He averaged more than 25 points per game in high school and even helped lead his team to a 63-9 record. In college, he won a Division II title in 1982 and finished as the NABC Player of the Year back-to-back in 1983 and 94.
Michael Young.
Michael Young didn't have much success in the NBA. He played 3 sort of forgettable years, one with the Suns, 76ers, and Clippers each. It wasn't until he went overseas he would see his basketball career take a step in the right direction. He played 2 seasons in the NBA for the Detroit Spirit, where he was named Player of the Year in 1986, averaging over 26 points per game. Young also played in the Philippines, Italy, France, and Israel. In 1986, he led his team to the finals, and even though they were defeated, he would return to the finals the following season with a different team. So, he was a winner and won the European Club Championship in 1992.
So it just didn't really work out in the NBA for him, but he was a hooper.
He wrapped up his career in 1988 before going to the University of Houston. He spent 1 season as an assistant coach and 5 years as Houston's strength and conditioning coach.
Wow.
It didn't stop there, because he would then become the director of basketball operations. But later on, Young filed a lawsuit against the school he went to, Houston University. In 2013, after he stated the school was making him illegally accept money and act against the rules of the NCAA. Houston University denied those claims, but the lawsuit ended up settling, and it was a bitter ending for both sides. Well, there you have it, the 1984 NBA draft. Really a top-heavy draft considering all 4 Hall of Famers went in the top 16, with John Stockton at number 16, shockingly enough. The draft produced 0 All-Stars from that point on. It's crazy because we've been accustomed to learning about some steal of the draft, and we almost always see some player at the bottom of the draft turn into a star. But that clearly was not the case here. But that certainly was the case with the 2003 NBA draft. Even after LeBron and other big-ticket prospects came off the board within the first few picks of the draft, the 03 draft class had some gems looking back on it, and you can find all about it in the video right here.
Okay. I'm down with that, man. I'm down to check that out too. Okay, this is a really cool video. I was just thinking, this whole time I can't stop thinking, I can't believe John Stockton went at number 16. So I think like everyone focuses on how did Jordan not go number 1. That one I understand. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, I know. But that one kind of does make sense. Maybe Jordan should have gone a little earlier, maybe like number 3. But whatever, it is what it is. But John Stockton at 16, the all-time assist leader, you know, John freaking Stockton, the perfect point guard. That's if one has ever existed. Damn, that's wild that he wasn't on anyone's radar at that point. But yeah, I thought this was a cool video. I'm gonna go ahead and subscribe to this channel here, Lockdown K, and thank you very much for suggesting it. It was rapid fire information, so I was doing my best to just digest it all as much as I could, at least. What I am kind of surprised is I only knew like maybe half of those guys, but like I said, this happened before I was 2 years old at this point, so obviously I wasn't watching this. Not yet. You know, it wasn't until I was about 5 years old. That's when I was like addicted to hoops. I was either dribbling around, playing basketball of some sort, or I was just, you know, I was messing around with basketball cards with my brother, or we were just glued to the TV watching basketball games. So yeah, everything pre-'87 is a little hard for me, and a lot of those guys that were just shown here, they only lasted like 2 years in the NBA and they're never gone. But I think it's a really cool video format, really cool stuff. And 2003, let me know if you guys want me to do it. I think it would be pretty interesting because everyone remembers the big dogs of that draft. But I'm curious how many other people came out of that draft that I don't really associate with that draft class that were actually awesome hoopers. Anyways, you guys, hope you enjoyed learning some stuff with me. Let me know what you thought about it, and some of you older heads than me, let me know if there's any tidbits about any of these players that weren't covered here that you want the rest of the community to know. All right, guys, I am out of here. Thank you very much for watching with me. Like the video if you haven't done so. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. And as always, be water, my friends.